The first thing, I think crypto market is still quite relatively small compared to the equity. If you just 1 to 120, there's roughly even less than 0.8%, not even 1%. So, some smaller project is very manipulated kind of market. And second thing is there are lots of people say the valuation for crypto is Twitter driven. So when Elon Musk or ZZ send out Twitter, can pump up the project like 5% or 10%. Because each project is not just like religion. People believe in you.
Welcome to Analyse Asia, the premier podcast dedicated to dissecting the pulse of business, technology, and media in Asia. I'm Bernard Leong, and with the US being haphazard about their crypto regulation, what is the future of digital assets within Asia, leading the world in crypto innovation? What are the key trends for crypto and Web3 investing? With me today is Chris Lee, co-founder and partner of TKX Capital and founder of Hummingbirds Capital, and definitely an OG in the crypto space, because I'm going to dive into his illustrious background. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to have me here.
Yeah, Chris, actually, we met through a common friend of ours, which is Yao, who actually came on the show. We've been talking a lot about the business of investing into crypto. Prior to doing this interview with you, I dived into a lot of interesting research about your background and saw on your Twitter, the pin picture, which you have a picture with Warren Buffett, which I'm going to get to that later. But first, how did you start your career?
So I'm trained accounting professional. So I started my first job in Deloitte, a big four accounting firm, as an auditor. So it's more like accounting finance background.
And then from there, how did you actually ended up in the realm of crypto and Web3? Starting from that background, you also were a CFO as well previously in the financial side.
Yeah, I worked for Big Four for a couple of years, got my professional exam, and got into the Greater China property private equity firm. And then I join a public company as a FC and promoted as CFO. That company is related to payment. So in 2014, when I was in a Jason Center in New York, so I got to attend a talk that presented by Altry. So that's the one to build like the SWIFT system, but use the blockchain technology to challenge SWIFT. So at that time, it's kind of like, wow, this technology going to change everything. So basically payment is got a whole bunch of long value chain. You got hardware, software, middleware, authorization, settlement, service provider, Visa, MasterCard. You see, blockchain can fix everything about basically you can kill everyone. There's no middleman. It simulates a peer-to-peer kind of payment system and wallet-to-wallet kind of function. So that really inspires me. So after like 5-6 years public company, I try all my best. I figured out the payment industry going to have huge change, especially in Asia Pacific, like Alipay, Tenpay. And you even in the States, you think about Square, and then now it changed the name to Block. So it seems there's lots of innovation happening. So I really want to participate in more like startup kind of like the enterprise industry. So I think the good thing is I can participate in a high growth industry, and it's a startup. There's lots of potential for me. I am pretty young. I just want to take a shot. So at the time, OKX founder Starshri came to Hong Kong twice and talked to me and want me to join him. And I think the blockchain is a tailor-made for China society. It's a trust machine, and there are lots of 2C kind of like environments. At that time, the largest trading platform and people, crypto fanatic, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin in China. So at that time, okay, it's the largest exchanges. And I do some kind of study and travel to the San Francisco, talk to people. We get like the Coinbase people and check those fintech startups. And then I back to Hong Kong and then I went to China, Beijing, Hangzhou, and Shenzhen and check those kind of like blockchain enterprise. I figured out that it's booming and it's just a start. I think there's lots of potential for me and make a contribution, make a difference for the company and industry. So I'm the traditional finance guy, participate in this industry in Greater China area.
And the one most interesting part of your CV is that you hold both the Chief Financial Officer positions in OKCoin and Huobi. And I think you were also the CEO of OKX. But I want to do this chronologically. How did you get involved with OKCoin first and then learn about how to run a crypto exchange?
So our first join is OKX, OKCoin International. So OKX is more like derivative trading. That's OKX. And OKCoin is more for the spot market only. I, at the time, was the platform CEO, not the group CEO, but the platform CEO and the CFO of the whole group. So basically, I take care more like the infrastructure, strategic planning, execution, international expansion. So at that time, ZZ from Binance left OKX already. Okay, so I need to help the group CEO to rebuild the international team, hire the people in Hong Kong and set the JV. For example, there's one with Naver in Korea for is OKCoin Korea, and we set the JV in Japan. Even nowadays, this corporate structure in the state is just the same that I make before. Also, I do the fundraising for them. So there's a first tier Chinese investors and very close to Alibaba Group also invest in OK Group as well. So basically, I'm more like the function as a CFO. For the CEO function for the exchange is more like the branding and PR. Yeah.
And did you cross paths with Z just before he joined Binance or?
Actually, I knew ZZ after I joined OKCoin OKX, but he left already. We didn't cross. But after some period, we meet up with each other and also with He as well. So He was the CMO and the co-founder of OKCoin as well. So later we meet up as a friend. Yeah.
So after the OKCoin, you went over to Huobi to be their CFO. Are there any differences in moving into a different exchange and maybe it's a different role and responsibility? What have you learned in the Huobi situation then?
I mean, Huobi is definitely in terms of a business line at that time as I have more versatile business lines. So in that period of time, Huobi always have set a new business line for much more innovation of the products. And I think there's hierarchy in Huobi, but there are lots of autonomy for the key executive to execute the project and the plans. And Huobi is more like deep into the China market. They try to do the expand to international, but OK's the start doing the international is much earlier than Huobi. So there's lots of potential for Huobi. And my role at that time, I take care of the compliance, I take care of the accounting, legal, basically besides the frontline and also security part, I take care of majority department. So I also acquired the Japanese license exchange. At that time, the only exchange that 100% owned by foreigners. And also acquire a listed vehicle, so as get the second 100% invest in crypto as a management company in Hong Kong as well. So it's been lots of achievements in Huobi, and Huobi is very deep root in China. So yeah, I'm proud that I'm be part of the Huobi and OK. Both are good companies. Just at that time before, OK is very good in derivatives, futures. And Huobi is very good spot market. And even like Huobi in 2019, the revenue of Huobi actually is more than Binance whole world. Just because China, more than whole world of Binance over the whole world. So actually they penetrate to the China mainland. They did a great job. I think the people were young, ambitious, and hardworking. It's really a China company. I don't see any huge difference to like those Baidu, Tencent, Alibaba. I mean, Leon Li is a great guy. I mean, there are lots of autonomy and lots of opportunity for the teams. And I'm very happy to make a contribution and see the Chinese in China, the crypto evolve the industry and gaining more attraction and know about this crypto and blockchain going to reshape the whole world. And also people know about Bitcoin and the technology behind.
And that's why we want to have you here, because this story is not very well told in the Western equivalent of crypto podcasts. But one more thing I wanted to ask, since you're CFO for both exchanges, what are your responsibilities in terms of like, say, building relationships with the regulators to make sure everything is compliant? Of course, there was a point in time when China has forced a lot of the exchanges to move out of China into Hong Kong. I think they're still operational in Hong Kong, right?
In Hong Kong, yes. In Hong Kong, until now, yes. So for the regulators, so China at that time still gray area. They didn't say you can't do it because the virtual asset, if even the court case has proven is a legal protected asset, that the people own the asset will protect by the law. So more like the international compliance part. So we deal with like SFC in Hong Kong, and because we apply a license or acquire the license exchange in Japan, so we deal with like financial service at FXA, and I hired very experienced talent in compliance. For example, in Huobi, I hired the one in some place 3, alternative asset Asia Pacific head of compliance. They're very experienced, and also from the investment bank, JP Morgan. So we got a this team. So we are more like the active approach to talk to the compliance, especially in Hong Kong. So we are the first crypto exchange on a listed vehicle and named it under the crypto groups. At that time, Huobi Technology Limited. So we talk quite often at SFC and Hong Kong Stock Exchange as well.
This is now interesting because recently Hong Kong is opening up again. Japan is also launching some new crypto regulation. I've been listening to the US podcast. It seems that Asia is now leading the charge in terms of crypto regulation, and maybe with the likes of the European Union as well, even Dubai. Singapore is still trying to figure out where it's going to be. Do you see this opening up of crypto regulations going to change the landscape and benefit the entire digital asset space?
Yeah, I think the innovation always go ahead of the compliance part. So compliance always take a bit of time to catching up. And what happened with like last 2 years, Luna, FTX, all the stable coins, we all figured out we need a more like comprehensive compliance regulation to protect the investors and the whole financial system. Crypto is a part of the financial system. We cannot isolate from the whole financial world. Indeed, Japan is the first key financial license that financial market countries that issued the license, but it is over compliance. So the whole industry in Japan actually is being oppressed. So the over regulation that really hurt the industry development in Japan. Even though it's the first G7 countries issued a license, even ahead US. So definitely we can see even like Hong Kong now, they have like exchange license and virtual asset service provider license, and also asset management license for crypto 100%. So I think it's more comprehensive. Actually, it's a good thing. US is not have really clear cut regarding the license, even though like the token is a utility token or the security. I think now it's face a huge challenge besides Bitcoin, even Ethereum. And also because FTX issue, there's a lot of like the root holes and the banking and the stable coin, those kind of connection. They want to keep it more like and also DeFi, they want to keep it under the regulation roof so the investor can be protected.
One interesting thing, as we already mentioned earlier, you are one of the few crypto people who went to meet Warren Buffett together in 2020 with Justin Sun, the founder of Tron. I found out because I went to your Twitter account. And I was like, for all those times we've been drinking, talking, you have never mentioned this. So I'm going to ask you here, what are the key words of wisdom you have learned from your meeting with Warren Buffett? As in the Chinese words, 你真的是真人不露相.
No, I mean, yeah, it's my honor. I'm lucky to meet this guy, legendary guy. I mean, he got a wisdom and just donate lots of money for the charity. As also, he was one of the most wealthy persons in the world. So it's a great dinner in Omaha, his hometown, and it's golf country cup. He's always been there. He's very humble, invite us, greeting. We have a nice dinner with another 4 persons and with his secretary as well. And so 3 hours dinner, I think it's very warm. And I think he just drink like 4 cans of cherry Coke. It's the same as what he always mentioned about he loved cherry Coca-Cola. And he's sort of like money god, would do great in equity. He actually act against crypto. When we mention Bitcoin, he's a bit of like upset and against it. I think what I have some kind of keyword that he mentioned to me, I think cover that the first thing, interest rate. Interest is very important of the whole macroeconomy. It means the liquidity. It means the discount rate. And I remember most is that interest rate is just like a gravity of the land. So if interest rate lower down, so all the price went up. It's that easy. He mentioned of the cash flow. He like the farming land is even invest in farming land is much better than Bitcoin, because farming land going to grow something, they can have cash flow. So I think cash flow is very important too. And he mentioned the modes. How can a company has either protect their position to gain a good GP margin and good profit? The other thing is being patient is very important. So I think cash flow, interest rate, modes, margin of safety. Another thing I think is the keyword for me to observing is humble. It's very humble guy. And mention the simplicity of life that I heard from them. So he is a great guy, very, very humble, polite to people, and very happy, simple guy.
So given your career journey, before we really dive into what you're currently doing, what are the most interesting lessons you can share with my audience? You've been through from the traditional financial system, you move into crypto, you took on really difficult roles.
So I always get a contrarian theory that if the majority of people want to chase it, don't chase it that direction. You need to find some new path, because each generation, there always some areas that lots of opportunity provide that. Even like as a class, I mentioned about, let's say petrol, commodities, property sector, internet sectors, and payment sector, and then it's blockchain, AI. Now it's people talking AI. And I think that got to be bold enough to try something new. And the new things, if you do the calculation, nothing you can lose, or you don't worry about your daily life expense, everything. I encourage people to be bold and try something new. I think it's very rewarding. For myself, I get like from a public company, it will be like stable job, but it's decent earning and good welfare, and maybe the life is that's it like that. But for crypto, I move in. Everyone at that time say, "Hey, Chris might get a head, like illness, my illness issue or something. Why go to crypto?" So Bitcoin is a liar, a lying story. There are lots of pyramid scheme or something for crypto about Bitcoin. But the point is that people make a judgment. I think more important, you have to make the question whether it's true or not. So that's why I read the book about Bitcoin and the white paper. I think, wow, that's really sexy. And for the majority, the innovation, for example, TV, for example, computers, and all the majority, a lot of peer-to-peer kind of innovation, Wuban, and even like the DOM, everything is from the small circle and become a mass adoption. So if you are forward thinking, seeing is believing, you do your own homework, I think you should go ahead rather than listen to other people saying no. So I think it's really rewarding that I got lots of different roles. So before it's payment as a CFO and into crypto, and then now I'm doing investment. I think each transformation, I learned lots of stuff. And I think you have to be open-minded and you have to follow your hearts. There are lots of people say, "Hey, you're a finance guy. Why do investment? Or why you want to set up a company? Why do a finance job?" But they didn't know that Rockefeller, in history, the richest man in the world, actually, the first billionaire in the world. Actually, his first job actually is a accountant. So
that's right.
So there are lots of history about an accountant, a CPA can be entrepreneur, because your people will set the boxes. There's a lot up there. You could then jump out the box and think outside the box and say something you believe. So when I was a kid, I always think I want to be in there. I want to stand in the middle and tell the positive idea, inspire people. That's when I was a kid in private school, and I love business. Honestly, I think technology business is good business. Yeah, it's risky for the staff. It's risky for you step out of your comfort zone. But if you don't step out, you just have a day, every day, the same job. It's a day. You do something with your passion. If you don't have passion, you wouldn't good at that.
So coming to today then, so you are now started TKX Capital, and that's where the story of how I got to know you. So what is actually the vision and mission for TKX Capital?
So I work for two larger exchanges in the world. So I see lots of private market opportunities. I think there are lots of good projects. They need financing, not only financing, but they need guidance in terms of staffing, recruitment, and they need the tokenomic design, some expert to help them. It's just a share, same as the equity share structure, corporate structure design. And they need to be introduced to the capital market. In our case, it would be like DEX. It would be like centralized exchanges. So that can provide the market liquidity, market cap for both project, the protocol, or the team and investors. So they can let the project continue and make a difference in the industry. So the whole team is from Huobi team. So we knew each other. We got a passion. Most of our team members, they already got financial freedom, kind status. So we won't be one multi-con start is very more kind of portfolio and grow up to one of the most influential token fund. So we just want to connect the best project team and the capital, unleash their value. And so TKX stands for trust. So because in crypto, there's not much trust, honestly, not much credibility. I haven't trusted everything in crypto. The second is knowledge, because it's very special niche market in crypto for each project. So I think knowledge is everything. Knowledge, not only power, but knowledge is how we communicate each other, know each other. I think it's very important. The third thing is execution. So I think execution is important. There are lots of projects have very good in PR, very good in the community, but the execution got a lot of issue. We hope we can help the team to execute their protocol. Yeah, and another thing is that TKX, another like is a joke from our friend. It's a 10KX, 10,000X. So I hope that I was like, wow, okay, thank you. That's our dream. So maybe there's a dream come true, right? Think about like if we think about Solana, they are some of the good projects. Actually, it's more than 1,000X if you are in the seed round. So I think it's a good name, and we bring us later the good luck for us. And I really want to have a platform, have a more transparent, open, and have a high more standard kind of like the private market token.
So one of the things I read from the site is that it tries to be something like a crypto investment bank. My question for you would be something like, how does it operate like one? And who are the customers and what services that you offer, the firm offer for the customer, which I understand will be probably people who own protocols, who basically build protocols, people who build interesting blockchain applications that is important to the crypto and Web3 industry.
So we do have like the first asset management. So we have a token fund, and then we do the FA. Those projects, for example, those projects want to raise the fund, we got to help them. And those projects want to sell their project, we get involved. And also we try to provide a market liquidity service to some projects listed in the CEX as well. But majority of our business is more focused on token investment, primary market.
Yeah. So what is the one thing you know about the crypto market that not many people do?
Now the crypto market is a good question. The first thing, I think crypto market is still quite relatively small compared to the equity. If you just 1 to 120, there's roughly even less than 0.8%, not even 1%. So, some smaller project is very manipulated kind of market. And second thing is there are lots of people say the valuation for crypto is Twitter driven. So when Elon Musk or ZZ send a Twitter, you can pump up the project like 5% or 10%. Because each project is not just like religion. People believe in you. There are lots of communities. So there are lots of followers. For example, Elon Musk, more than 100 million followers. So it's very influential, his message to the market.
So it's a very meme-driven market then. One curious point is that I think there is also a methodology that how TKX Capital help protocol owners or people who build blockchain applications. One is the primary and secondary market strategies, and then there is the hybrid approach and also the active treasury management. Can you elaborate a little bit on these approaches?
So in general, primary market is what we invested, those tokens, and then we help them to be listed in key centralized exchanges. So those projects are once go to the secondary market because we know them well. So if we can follow up, just like stock equity, pre-IPO, you invest in pre-IPO or in their Series A round and then go IPO. Once on IPO, you know about the management or team can predict what they're going to do in secondary market. So basically, and also in secondary market, we got to figure out what kind of concept that should have some kind of project in the market. If there's a no, we should go back to look at the primary market, whether we do have this kind of like project in primary market. If not, so we're going to talk to those incubators to see whether it's possible to group those teams to form this kind of project. That's what we call primary or secondary market strategy. It's like that. Well, hybrid approach is more like we do have a primary market, we do a secondary market. So there's some kind of market kind of like the valuation differences. When it's a bear market, actually secondary market even cheaper, the valuation are lower, much lower than the primary market. So we're going to focus more like the secondary market. And when it's in bull market, well, before the bull market is a bear market. At that time, we see the transition in indication from the bear market to bull market, this kind of transition period. I think the primary market the valuation is lower, and it's the right project. We can provide our resources and make a difference. You can provide much higher return compared to secondary market. As the risk is smaller actually. So it's more like hybrid approach. Active treasury management is we don't idle our cash. So we do like the risk-free arbitrage opportunity to get the treasury management return. But to be honest, the third one actually is risky, especially what happened like FTX, because we need the funding to different exchanges because the price difference, you create yield. So in reality, and also you sort of like borrow money from the people to short or long. So this kind of, especially in bear market, actually is risky. So we're more focused on the first two.
So given for the active treasury management part, how do you all think about DeFi? I mean, not necessarily just as a yield building mechanism, but different types of mechanisms, because you need to pledge collateral and you need to do market making, doing trades across all these different decentralized exchanges. What's the perspective there?
So we seldom put our stable coin in DeFi or our position DeFi. I think DeFi still got an issue of like security issue. And also there's the timing issue as well. So even though the DeFi protocol might be audited by CTEC or other compliance service, audit regulator, service provider, but they always got you think about the hacking. Honestly, we didn't really put our tokens in the DeFi that much.
Oh, okay. So that means you still try to make sure you hold the tokens maybe in a particular multi-sig kind of structure, or maybe some form of asset custodial sit in a safe place. Yeah.
Yeah, we put in the most reputable exchanges and diversify, and we do have our wallet as well, so our decent wallet. So that's a good protection.
What are the kind of traits you look in the founders and their teams? I know just now you talk about the 3 words for the TKX, and one of them is execution. And also, what are the red flags as part of the cycle of deciding whether to invest in them?
Yeah, I mean, there's a balanced scorecard. So we can check about the direction. So where direction is right and where the team mix is good. And the third thing is their track record. I think that's important. The red flags is going to be if you get a very bad history record. For example, those projects got some kind of issue. He just ran away. And it's just like people from a startup, they ask for funding, they got a direction. It's same as equity. It's not much difference. But you're going to assess his personality, whether the team's bonding, the direction, and also whether because when we do this stuff, we are not successful the first time. If a couple of times, we're going to check reputation, whether they invaded their previous working experience. But even though select a good project is sometimes really like from your hunch, you feel this guy, whether he's the right guy or not. And also we're going to work with other investors, ventures to work together to push the project that will lower risk. And to be honest, sometimes it's sort of like the lucky draw, because whether project is successful or not, as always rely on the market, the macro, the whole market sentiment, the crypto sentiment, and the team, and the right timing, and the community's great, strong belief in that project, and go to list it in the centralized exchange majority or DAX on the right time is not easy.
So I've seen that you have a very strong portfolio of projects that's under TKX Capital. Can you talk about some of these projects? For example, there is Era7, a blockchain gaming company that's actually quite active on Binance, who I actually have the chance of meeting the founder through dinner with you. And then there's Polygon as well. Can you talk about some of these projects that are under your portfolio?
So we invest we invest roughly 20 to 30 projects. So we have lots of infrastructure projects. So because we believe infrastructure is the content is you need the infrastructure. What we define infrastructure is the applications and also the tools. So we love to invest in centralized exchanges. So we invest, like for example, a good project is the B2Me, as one of the largest Spanish regulated licensed exchange. Is bringing us a good return. And we can see the founders is working very hard to build up the portfolio. But there are lots of expansion opportunities, like Spanish have like the African countries, for example, Latin America, even like, Portuguese or also Brazil, because the language is quite similar. There are lots of opportunity, and also the prototype, and the team is young and ambitious. We love this kind of project. Also, we invest in MECO, is a Mexican exchange as well. So I think it's a growing emerging market for provide the crypto infrastructure on that. Like the market as the encryption, privacy, have tools. That's a very good project as well. That provide a niche market needs of the people to protect their privacy. And also the good team should have like very good in technology and the project solve the problem or issues. And then the good combination, there's one doing very good in the capital market, and another good, they should be good in marketing, technology, capital market, marketing. And then with good tokenomic design and community, I think those kind of projects are good projects.
Yeah. So we went through a really exciting year in 2022. So I think without really being specific on any of the incident that happened, what are your reflections on the crypto crash in 2022? We have things like the Lunar Terror, 3AC, FTX collapse, but there are also a lot of dead bodies along the way. But you being an OG, you have seen the tough times from, I think, 2017, 2018, and then you see this period of time. What do you think from your point of view?
I think it's still short, honestly. Like 2017, 2018, because the institution didn't come into this sector. So we didn't see the huge impact to the whole society. But this last year, the bust of Hero, Lunar, FTX, they got huge impact to many people, not a small circle like before. Pension fund. And for example, you just like the FTX, it's a popular trading platform, number 2 trading platform in terms of transaction volume. And lots of institutions and also high net worth investor use the platform. So there are lots of people or company surrounding me put their money in FTX. They couldn't get it back. I would say it's a strategy. Even like Luna has more than 50 billion US gone. Just I think that's underestimated number, but you can imagine like lots of family offers, like institutionals from Korea and Asia Pacific, and lose the money just gone in a couple of days. You can imagine that the impact is huge. And institutional investors like the Wall Street, they simply need some time to recover the confidence and the trust of this newly recognized asset class. So it's not easy at all for everyone. And to be honest, there are lots of people say crypto dropped a lot, but actually Bitcoin compared to certain kind of like tech stock even dropped less. But the smaller token, those altcoins, or I put another way, shitcoins, or that's in vanished like they can be vanished at 98% of the value. So I think it's a learning lesson for everyone, for investors, for regulators, for the protocols within this industry. And even like Multicoin just released its result last year, 2022, it lose more than 90% of the portfolio value. So Multicoin is more like primary market fund, but they invest in lots of projects and different products as well. But you're right, they invest some structured products as well, FTX related kind of like the projects. So it's a big hit to the whole market. And you can think about those kind of companies. Also, they got some kind of issue as well.
And I think the DCG Gemini issue is so based on our today's chat, they more or less have came to some resolution after Genesis filed for bankruptcy, and I think they got into an agreement now. So I think it will play itself out for the next couple of months, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, recently there's lots of like couple issues like Silvergate rumors, and also because they cannot really release its audit report, and also the FTX issue, like the Coinbase or Circle not going to use the Silvergate anymore, and also stablecoin issue, and also even though last couple of days the rumors regarding Binance as well, those are like the bad signal to the market. But I think it's for crypto investment, we gotta have some kind of contrarian theory. If all the bad news get released like this, probably it's a good time to hold it. And again, I always recommend people have holding power. They have to just the risk they can take. So crypto should be a part as allocation. So even I talk to lots of people say they're all in crypto. I think even you're all in, you still have financial stability to support your family and paying the grocery. You shouldn't be risk like that. And in long run, you should be, thinking of a stable strategy to accumulate your wealth in crypto.
What is your mental model when it comes to valuations of companies or projects in the crypto space? I mean, given recently we had the meltdown of the crypto lending market, so the valuations have gone down significantly. But how does it evolve your way of thinking in valuations? Because to you, it doesn't matter whether it's tokens, because they behave very similarly to stock. And you and I agree that the beauty of crypto is actually, or Web3, is that anything you do has an embedded capital market sitting right inside it. It comes with it. It's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, I think it's for valuation, to be honest, is very challenging. It's not like the absolute valuation, doing the cash flow discount, cash flow NPV. It's more like comparable, compare the historical, and also compare to the market now. For example, when we look at the project now, because we invest in seed round or angel round, previously those projects maybe they're going to ask like 14 million or 15 million US. But now it's above like 20 million, we're not going to consider it. It's more like the just changed by the market sentiment and whole beta, the macro, rather than the project itself. Because for the token, it's not like the equity. The tokens, there are lots of vesting period, quite long. And the vesting period after TGE, so token generation event, it varies, and there's lots of lock-ups. So those kind of market cap is not really a good indicator, but because they're very good in the community and people, it's a supply and demand. So they push it up to the market is very high level. And so this kind of sense, I think, is For the Bitcoin, it's more like focus on the comparables. The previous, there are a lot of people say, hey, Bitcoin should be worth like gold. Hey, we're going to take a position, take that position as a global currency reserve. So they can count on network effect. Or if Bitcoin as a payment tool, not only a store value in those countries, what its value would be. So I think those are more like imagination or like replacement, just give some kind of hints idea. The more like the variation of large tokens, I would say blue chip tokens like Bitcoin, Ethereum, it's just like demand and supply. But the private market is more like by the market sentiment itself. Yeah.
Just a quick question on this, right? Do you think Bitcoin and Ethereum, maybe plus minus Solana or Polygon, have already gone past their escape velocity? The way I could think of Ethereum now is basically a 3% bond. If after the staking is taken out, that means you can take out from your staking, right? Because the staking yield is at 3%, right? You can think of it as a bond from now on. And I mean, Bitcoin is more store of value like a gold. They have already reached their escape velocity, but maybe the market may allow another 10, 20 projects to reach escape velocity, or maybe there already some of them are doing that.
So I think it's Bitcoin still can go much further beyond our imagination. As nowadays, roughly 500 million investors in crypto, and compared to traditional kind of market, it's still quite small. And more once the Fed interest rate go to stable or begin to cut the Fed rate, people can adopt more like the risky assets. So I think the price, and because the adoption rate and people more recognize it as a new generation assets, I think it will be a huge boost of Bitcoin. And also next year going to be halving for Bitcoin. So I think it's a boost of Bitcoin as well. And you can imagine if like demand is increasing and supply is going to cut half, it's a very simple logic, right? And for Ethereum, it's more like platform, oil and gas to provide energy for the blockchain world. Again, it's because POS, the supply of the burn of the Ethereum getting more and more application on it. So it means people now recognize that they want anyway. Or for younger generation, love this kind of like application, have lots of potentials that out of our more than what we can imagine. So I think it's good. Those are good projects. Yes, some previously like last 2-3 years, think about like the special like the GameFi is Infinity, and also like the metaverse, like the sandbox. They may be in mid round, it reached his peak already. So again, I think crypto is more like an asset class. It will be influenced same as other assets, as mentioned by Warren Buffett, interest rate and cash flow. So I believe the bounce back of crypto, it will be the day the Fed rate start stable, no more increment, and going to cut. So there are lots of people think next year it is going to be a huge bull run market.
Okay. So one final question. What does great look like for TKX Capital?
Wow. We try our best. We hope we can have some star projects. So we invest couple central exchanges. We hope one of our project can be reach like 1 billion valuation. And we can help a couple good project to be a star project. Ultimately, people going to believe in the branding of TKX. That I think that famous like a day in Asia Pacific. If people mention about Kinetic Capital, it's a great company. So I think there's a day TKX can be another Kinetic Capital.
That's well said. So Chris, many thanks for coming on the show and really sharing a lot about your experience and how you're thinking about the market in such interesting times. So in closing, I have 2 quick questions. My first question is, do you have any recommendations that have inspired you recently?
Yeah, I mean, crypto is a fast moving industry and it's more like people business. Honestly, it relies on the small group of people and different people. It is a matching game. You find your partners, you find a project. If you want to be happier in your life, your work. You just lower your expectation. I think and try to be yourself and keep your life simple and cherish something that important to you. That shouldn't be money, but more like family and friends. I get a friend is our common friend anyway, just passed away during Christmas. He's 49, very successful entrepreneur. He make a fortune in the business, but he left just during Christmas. I think it's to us, health comes first, being simple and lower expectation on everything, make you happy. Yeah.
Okay. How do my audience find you?
So I'm a Twitter. I didn't do lots of send a message, but I'm going to do more often. So it's going to be, I'm at Chris TKX Cap. This is my Twitter account. Yeah, I do. Now I appear more often in public, like the panels, attend those events. I do more like this kind of like PR activities. Yeah, I mean, welcome, leave the message through Twitter. So I'm going to reply them. Yeah.
And definitely you can find us on YouTube and everywhere else. And of course, tweet to us, give us your feedback on all the channels and above. So Chris, many thanks for coming on the show. And I'm definitely going to look forward in catching you for dinner when you're in town. So once again, many thanks for coming on the show and look forward to speak to you again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brandon.